As most of you know, I've seen my fair share of analog horror by this point. Stories stitched together through static and warped VHS displays. Some good, some bad, and some that have a tendency to crawl under your skin and stay there for a while. But when you've watched as many as I have, sometimes the magic wears off, and the medium becomes stale. That flicker of excitement starts to lose its pulse, and you wonder if the genre has run its course. If the signal has finally gone dead. However, every now and then, a series will come along, and that signal is brought back to life. A series that takes the formula and contorts it in just the right ways to create something engrossing and unique. The series covered in this video is just that. Tonight, I want to introduce you to Hollowbirds, a newer analog horror project created by the channel Alex Archives, who some of you might know as the creator behind Ted's Caving Journal, an excellent adaptation of the classic creepypasta, Ted the Caver. Hollowbirds, however, is a completely original story, and is one of the best analog horror series I think I've ever seen. Without giving too much away, the series follows a character who for the most part is simply referred to as R. Throughout the series, he documents a mysterious medical condition he suffers from that is causing him to have vivid and horrific nightmares, but trust me, there is so much more to this story than just that. A corporation running deadly experiments, an abandoned park containing forgotten memories, and dinosaurs. If this sounds intriguing to you at all, then I recommend you check out the series for yourself by clicking the link in the description below. But if you're still with me, you know the drill by this point. Settle in and get comfy. Let's prepare ourselves to take a deep dive into Hollowbirds to see what makes it an underrated masterpiece. Let's go. Rather than starting by inserting a VHS tape like many other analog horror series do. The first video of Hollowbirds starts us off by inserting a DVD. Truly ancient technology. We see the icon bounce around on the screen, and then the video greets us with a warning, right before the icon hits the damn corner. The warning states that the following video contains disturbing material, and the viewer, referred to as the buyer, presses enter, and we are shown another warning, or rather a reminder, that states the following video is the property of an organization called T Chemical. The video states that what we are about to witness is the first recorded case of what's referred to as a successful conversion. The subject of this conversion is labeled as Exhibit 10. The video then cuts to found footage taken from the night of November 21st, 2007. If you know anything about analog horror, you know how important dates can be. So let's keep this one in our notes. We view the footage from the perspective of someone driving into the woods. Over the radio, we hear a voice. They explain that a security guard was found knocked out near the northeast corner of the park. The perpetrator, referred to as the subject, was last seen wearing a purple shirt and was headed toward the SCT site, whatever that is. The man on the radio reminds all personnel to apprehend the subject without killing them. So immediately, judging from the man's dialogue, we know that this is a large operation with multiple personnel on site, searching for someone or something inside of a park. This subject seems to be of decent importance as well, judging from the fact that they are tasked with capturing, not killing. Okay, so everything's pretty simple so far. Our cameraman stops their vehicle and hops a fence into the park. They pull out their flashlight and begin surveying the area, and after a bit of walking, they stop at the sound of something moving to their right. The sound is odd. Not the growl of a creature or even footsteps, more like the sliding of stones against each other. He disregards it and keeps moving, eventually stumbling across another person surveying the area. The wind picks up speed as the cameraman searches. And then he finds something. We can see a body lying on the forest floor. The person is clearly wearing a purple shirt. The cameraman goes for his radio, but when he looks back, the body is gone. We hear another strange sound, almost like a low voice echoing through the trees. He begins to run, and we hear that same stone sound from the beginning, mixed with the screams of his colleague. We can see their flashlight in the distance being thrashed, until it eventually goes dark. Our cameraman makes their way over, and we can see that their colleague has been ripped in half, with only their upper torso in view. We hear the sliding stone sound again as something approaches, and we get a quick glimpse of something in the dark. A very large and very long arm or claw can be seen reaching out of the darkness. At the sight of this, he begins to run, sprinting towards the direction of the Jeep, now fully aware of the danger he's in. The sound of scraping stone follows him just out of view, until eventually we can see the headlights of the Jeep in the distance. He's almost made it. After one of the coldest shots I think I've ever seen in analog horror, the video ends, but not before giving us a blink and you'll miss it detail. It's a photograph taken of a news article that seems to detail a new kind of game park where monsters roam. A game park in question refers to a large area of land set aside as a protected area for wild animals. The main focus of these parks is wildlife viewing and conservation. It seems that someone was going to create a game park specifically for the viewing of the kind of monsters that killed our cameraman. Just judging from the teeth that we see, it seems like a dinosaur-type creature. If we look back to the warnings at the beginning of the video, we are told that what we are seeing is a recorded case of a successful conversion. This implies that T Chemical, the owner of this footage, and the company likely responsible for this search effort, created this creature through a conversion process. But as we can see, they were unequipped for their own success. As for the person in the purple shirt, we don't really have enough details to know who they are or why they're in the park at this point, but we now have a visual detail to look for later on. The last piece of information I want to bring up is that the description of this video reads a single word: foresight. For those who don't know, foresight is described as the ability to predict the future, which suggests that this video isn't necessarily the beginning of our story. To know for sure though, we'll need to keep digging through the other videos to see what pieces we can uncover. Fragments that might help us reconstruct the full skeleton of this story. The next video is shorter and introduces us to our main character, R. He is seen lit by the light of a TV, sketching something with a pen. Looking at the description, we can see that this video was recorded at 2:01 a.m., and he is asking if anybody watching might know what this drawing depicts. Once he finishes the drawing, he speaks directly to the camera, and we learn that he is recording this video for someone named Anna.
Hey Anna, here's today's drawing. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it very well, but I'll send pictures. Yeah, this one was pretty bad. Still struggling to sleep. Anyways, I hope you had a nice day today. Yeah, I love you.
Judging from his dialogue, he seems to be shaken up from a nightmare, a frequent occurrence for him. The video cuts, and we are shown some text from R, saying that he believes this to be the 65th drawing he's done, but if we enable subtitles on this video, we can see that he edited them after the video was uploaded, changing the number to 56. This is a nice little hint by the series that tells us we should pay attention to the subtitles, as they will give us some clues later on. Then the video cuts to a close-up of the drawing itself, and it's hard to tell exactly what we're looking at. The drawing looks like a twisted, almost splintered tree limb, its bark cracked and breaking apart. At the center, where the wood should meet, there's an eye staring out from a dark diamond-shaped cavity, almost as if something is inside the branch and is trying to look back at us. The most logical interpretation of what this thing actually is that it's probably some abstract monster from the nightmare R just experienced, although a drawing could never show the full terrors of the human mind. This is a short and effective introduction to our main character that tells us just enough without giving too much away. R is a young man who is plagued with recurring nightmares, and judging by how many drawings he has done, it seems that these dreams have been haunting him for a while. These drawings seem to function as a coping mechanism, helping him to better visualize and analyze what he is seeing in these dreams. He also records video logs addressed to a person named Anna, someone we haven't met yet. The nature of their relationship is kept unclear at this point, but the persistence of these video logs tells us that Anna is someone who is important to him. And with R saying that he loves her, it suggests that she's either a family member or is a romantic partner in some way, but more likely a family member. With the first two videos being wildly different, I was instantly hooked to see how they connected, and I'm sure you are too. So without spending too much more time on this video, let's go ahead and move to the next, to see what we can uncover.
Okay, I know you're not gonna like this, but I may have uploaded the last video to this broadcasting site called YouTube, and some people actually responded to the video of the drawing. So I kind of wanted to just show you that I'm sorry.
This video starts with R drawing again, and in a meta turn, we hear him apologizing to Anna about uploading the previous video to YouTube. When he shows Anna the website, we can see the classic YouTube layout. Ah, those were the days, weren't they? This tracks with the first video of the series, which was dated to take place in 2007, placing this series firmly in the digital Stone Age. He shows Anna the comments of the video, and we get a good little laugh.
The first one is trash camera quality. Okay. Sorry my Blackberry isn't good enough for you. Someone else asked, what is this drawing from? Looks cool though. Someone thinks the drawing is cool. Thanks for the nightmare fuel.
One comment compliments R, saying the drawing is cool while the other calls it nightmare fuel, which for R isn't just a joke. It's actually the truth. One cool Easter egg in this section is that when R scrolls down to the comments, you can actually see a video from Ted's Caving Journal, Alex's other analog horror series, being displayed in the suggested videos to the right. Meaning that canonically, both series might actually take place in the same universe, which is a fun little idea. In a moment of transparency, R expresses to Anna that nothing about his symptoms has improved. We learn that she has been sending him medication that works to no avail, and the only thing that seems to give him any sort of relief is drawing.
I know you asked for an update last week. Nothing's changed. It's still just something watching me. That new medicine you sent is kind of helping, but drawing definitely still works the best. Yeah, that's about it. I'll send a picture of last night's drawing to you just now. Anyways, hope you're having a good day. Call you later. Bye.
He also states that his dreams mainly consist of something watching him, explaining the earlier sketch's design. Creepy. We then see drawing number 57, and it seems to depict what I would describe as a dinosaur head peering over a stone wall, another drawing that reflects R's feelings of being watched. This entry is also short, but it highlights just how tight the writing is in this series. The way new details slip in through R's messages to Anna about his condition, the time period, and the nature of his nightmares is masterfully handled. And it doesn't stop here. In fact, this is only just the beginning. The series just continues to get better and better. So, let's move to the next video. Starting the next video, we can see that it is the second video to give us a clear date, August 13th, 2007. Why this detail is important is because the first date that was displayed in the series, that being the one shown to us in the first video, was November 21st, 2007. So it appears all the logs recorded by R do take place before the operation we witnessed in the first video. But those true eagle-eyed viewers will notice that the date on the camera actually changes during the first few frames of this video. Before displaying the date of August 13th, 2007, it reads October 22nd, 1994. I wonder what that could mean. It's possible that the camera hasn't been turned on in years, and this was the first date that got displayed before it corrected itself. But then that begs the question, whose camera is this? When we see R, he is having a conversation with Anna over the phone. From the dialogue between them, we learn that a man showed up to R's house with a bunch of boxes containing items from an establishment called Nurturing Souls, a children's home he and Anna stayed at.
Sorry for calling a bit early today.
No, it's not a problem.
Yeah, so, a guy came knocking yesterday, delivering some boxes. He didn't say where he was from, even though I asked. He said I should call you. So do you know anything about that?
Yeah. It's our old stuff from Nurturing Souls.
Our children's home?
Yeah, they closed down a few weeks ago, and they called me asking if we wanted our old things. And I gave them the house's address, and I forgot all about it. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, you can just put them somewhere for now, and I'll unpack them when I get home next month.
No, I can unpack them. I've kind of already started.
The video experiences two short glitches during this conversation, and this is where the real analysis starts to begin. If we have subtitles enabled, we can see one of two different characters during these glitches, a period or a dash. That's right, it's Morse code, baby. If we put all the sequences together, we get this message. I not am, or I not am. It's cut off, but I think we can see what this message is trying to say. It can be interpreted as I not a monster, although we can't be sure. We also don't exactly know who this message is coming from, but seeing as how R edited the subtitles in the previous video, I think it's safe to say that the message is coming from him. Why would he be trying to claim that he isn't a monster? Getting back to the main plotline of the video, R goes through some of the items in the boxes while talking to Anna. He finds his old drawings, some old books, a Triceratops toy, and a cowboy hat Anna used to wear.
Oh, please keep that. Please keep it for me, please.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'll probably give some of this stuff a clean though, because it's all kind of dirty and dusty.
Yeah.
It was a joke. I was joking, okay?
Okay. If you say so. Well, listen, I gotta get back to work. I'll call you later, okay?
Yeah, sure. No, that's fine. Thanks for answering.
Of course. Okay, I really gotta go now.
It's at this point I want to acknowledge the very solid acting that this series has. Good acting can be a hard thing to come by in most analog horror series, but I think all the conversations we hear throughout Hollow Birds flow naturally, and all the little expressions on R's face tell you what he's thinking in these moments beautifully. The emotion is conveyed very well, especially in the next scene. As R continues to unpack the boxes, he comes across a CD. At first, watching it seems to send him into a small wave of nostalgia, but the moment a woman begins humming, his expression shifts. The fondness drains from his face and turns into sadness, then shock, and maybe even fear. The footage cuts, and suddenly R is on the phone, anxiously waiting for Anna to pick up.
Pick up.
Hey, sorry,
Hey.
I'm a bit busy right now. I'll call you later.
No. Did you get the pictures I sent you?
Listen, I really can't talk right
Yeah,
now.
Anna, did you get the pictures I sent you?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Listen, this is exactly why I didn't want you looking for our old stuff in the first place.
Anna, why don't I remember this?
We learn the reason he was so scared is because whatever memory he just saw on the CD was something that he couldn't physically remember. When he brings it up to Anna, she becomes strangely closed off. Since she also appears in the pictures, R asks what she remembers, but she tells him that this isn't the right time, as she's very busy. Her tone isn't just distant, it's tense. She seems on edge for some reason, but before she can give a proper explanation, R cuts her off.
Through this before you dissociate.
No. Okay, then what do you remember?
Now is not the right time.
No, you're in the pictures. Please, just tell me. Anna, please.
I'm sorry, okay?
Anna, please.
I really can't talk right now,
No, just tell.
Look, I will call
Anna.
you later, okay?
Anna.
She hangs up abruptly and R punches the camera straight into a transition where he asks Anna to call him back. If we pause at the right moment, we can see a newspaper with the headline reading, "Take a trip to the past." The next part of the video does just that, by displaying pictures of R as a child along with Anna, wearing her cowboy hat that R found in one of the boxes. In the background, we hear the same humming that was cut off previously. The final image of the video is a card reading, "My son's 7th bestest birthday, October 17th, 1994. The humming we hear in this video likely comes from R's mother, who has probably passed away judging from his reaction to the sound of her voice. And I think it's also safe to assume at this point that Anna is R's sister, judging from how close they are from a very young age. The photos themselves seem to be taken at some kind of park with animal statues. Could this be the park from the first video? One thing I want to mention before moving on is that Anna seems to know a little more than she's letting on. She hesitates every time R brings up his memories, and she almost slips into talking about the people she's working for, only referring to them vaguely as they.
I'm sorry, okay?
Anna, please.
I really can't talk right now,
No, just tell.
Look, I will call
Anna.
you later, okay?
Anna.
It's possible she's monitoring R on someone else's behalf, or at the very least, shielding him from information she can't give. Either way, she knows something that she's not telling R. As for the memories and why R doesn't remember them, she says that R repressed them, which signals to me that these photos are tied to a more tragic event, likely the death of his mother, but we can't be too sure at this time. So the questions have begun to flow. What is Anna hiding from her brother? What happened to their mother? And what exactly is happening to R? The next log begins with R preparing some eggs for himself. If we look to the date on the bottom of the screen, we can see that it's August 23rd, so about 10 days after the previous log. As the eggs cook, he unpacks more boxes, pulling out a book with the title, "Animals Can Almost Be Human." An interesting detail if you know what's to come. During this segment, we can also hear the same Morse code glitch sounds from the previous video. Only this time, closed captions gives us no clues as to what the Morse code being spelled out is. But have no fear. If we look back to that previous log, we can hear that there are only 2 distinct glitch sounds heard throughout that entire video. A higher one corresponding with a dot, and a lower one corresponding with a dash. With this information, the hidden message of this video comes out to destined to be. Destined to be what? A monster? As he unpacks more boxes, R accidentally leaves the eggs to burn, and when he tries to move the pan off the stove, he ends up burning himself as well. He goes to the bathroom to wash the burn, and we can actually see him taking the medication that Anna gave him. Then the video gets a little more lighthearted with a puppy. The same dog that played Whip in Ted's Caving Journal. The crossovers just don't stop with this one, I guess. And easily the most Oscar-worthy performance we've seen so far, she inhales the food R gives her, and the video transitions into the middle of the night.
Kind of my friend. And she knows I'm always home, so I always give her some food. Yes, did you run through a bloody mud pool, eh? Wow, you hungry?
R appears from the darkness in a scene that isn't necessarily a jump scare, but it definitely made me jump the first time I watched this video for some reason. He sits down and begins sketching as we've seen him do before. One thing I noticed that is actually foreshadowing for something we see later is that if you listen very closely in this scene, right before R appears on camera, you can hear the same stone grinding sound from the first video. It's almost as if the same creature from the first video is moving outside of R's house. This is a little bit scary, just a little bit, concerning that this creature eviscerated 2 people in the first video. After R finishes drawing, he falls asleep and has another nightmare that jolts him awake the next day. When he looks at the drawing, right before the video cuts, he utters the word, "Mom." This is pretty interesting. We see this drawing later in the video, and I'll explain my theory about what this means there. He goes to the bathroom to brush his teeth, but something is wrong. He calls Anna and asks if the new medication she gave him has any side effects, as his gums have begun to bleed. He then tells her that he found their mom's old camera and slips into a moment of nostalgia, reflecting on the past through his voice message.
I also forgot to tell you I found Mum's old camera. It was in one of those boxes. You know, the one she used to take with her everywhere we went, all the time. I found pictures of us of that time we went to the Ferris wheel and we got stuck at the top because the power went out. Well, there was that time that we went to that old museum and you were so excited and you ran into the front of a cannon, knocking out your front tooth. And there was blood everywhere. But I just, those pictures, and they, my nightmares have gotten worse, and I'm starting to see them. It's all just becoming a lot more intense right now. And I could really use someone to talk to.
This nostalgia trip R is on doesn't last long, however. He expresses that his nightmares are becoming worse, and that he just wants someone to talk to. It's a small but meaningful character moment that makes you care more about R and his relationship with his sister. So when things inevitably go bad, you're invested in the well-being of the characters rather than just the thrill of the scares. That night, he listens to the video of his mother singing, and shows his latest drawing on the screen. It's rough, but it clearly depicts two people in the woods. Their faces are sketched out, one dragging the other one away. We can also make out a sign partially blocked by a tree with only one word visible: Park. One detail I should point out before y'all start shouting at me in the comments is that, yes, the drawing that we actually see R sketching in this video is different from the one that we see at the end of the video. However, if you look closely, the overall composition is the same. There's two figures, one dragging the other away, and you can even see the sign reading the word park. At least that's what I'm assuming, since it's kinda hard to make out, but it looks like there's something there. My explanation for this is that the drawing we see at the end of the video, the one featuring more color, an aspect that we never see in any of R's previous drawings, suggests that he might have drawn this when he was a child. And he could have found it in one of the boxes that was shipped to his house, meaning that this isn't just a nightmare, but it's almost a recurring memory. And judging from R's reaction after he wakes up, all this information suggests that this drawing depicts something happening to his mother on his birthday in the park. Right before the drawing appears, there's a brief flash of text on screen. Brightening the frame reveals that it's an excerpt from Little Red Riding Hood. The line reads, "But grandmother, what big teeth you have." This could be a reference to the first video's title, New Teeth, and while its exact meaning is unclear for now, it's worth noting that this is the final line Red Riding Hood speaks before the wolf attacks her. So, things aren't looking too hot for R. His condition is only getting worse, and his sister isn't making contact. Bigger things are at play in the background of R's story, and we'll just have to keep watching to see what they are. So the next video starts off kind of silly, but it grounds us firmly in the time period of these events. R records a message for Anna, saying that even though she hasn't been answering his calls, he knows that she's still watching the video logs. So he decides to lighten the mood by telling her about a YouTube channel he just discovered, Smosh, and says how much he's been enjoying their content. No, I'm not joking.
Hey, so I know you haven't been able to answer the phone recently, but I know you have been seeing the videos, so I thought I'd just make one quickly. I've been watching a lot of these funny videos by these two guys called Smosh, and I find them really funny. They make like these comedy sketch videos, but I don't know if it's your kind of humor. Anyways, it gave me an idea.
It's simultaneously super meta and actually kind of sweet. R seems to have finally found some kind of levity in his situation. He even says that watching Smosh's videos has inspired him, and he actually wants to try making a YouTube channel himself.
Yeah, I think I've finally found something that I really want to try and do. I know it sounds stupid, but I thought that I could also try and make cool videos, you know? Like maybe I can do something with the drawing and then make like funny sketches, you know? I think that'd be a really cool idea. I know it does sound stupid, but yeah, it's something I really want to try to do for once. So yeah, that's honestly, that's about it. So see ya.
And that's the end of the video. It's worth noting that this video takes place about 3 days after the previous one, meaning R has had a bit of time to stabilize and maybe even start to get better. Beyond just being another character building episode, I think this entry is also a small commentary on why creating content matters more than people give it credit for. Art, Yes, even comedy sketches from 2007
Let's take a stab at a knife.
Let's take a stab at your mom with my dictionary.
can inspire people, lift them out of hard moments, and give them a reason to keep going, even if just for a little while. R, in all his innocence, feels that spark. He wants to create something of his own. He wants to try. That's the power of art. It's the tool of inspiration.
Shut up!
Stepping away from the metaphorical and weirdly philosophical implications of a Smosh cameo, this moment deepens our connection to R even more. We've seen him almost exclusively being crushed under the weight of his repressed trauma, sleepless nights, and disconnect from the outside world. So seeing him happy in any way kind of feels like a win. As the audience, we want him to succeed, or at least I did when I was watching this for the first time. Which makes what comes next all the more tragic. Happiness never lasts long in a horror story. The following night of the previous entry, R can be seen shushing the camera, clearly terrified. Instead of talking to the camera, he writes messages in his notebook in order to stay quiet. He writes that something is outside, and it's big. Outside the house, we hear that stone sound from the first video, as whatever is out there begins to move. R points the camera into the darkness. We can't see anything, but he insists that something is there. In a blink and you'll miss it flash, we can see it. A Triceratops silhouette in the distance. At the very end of the video, we get a quick flash of a news article that reads, "On the move, huge, scaly monsters have started a long, slow..." On the article, we can see a picture of a Triceratops just out of frame, but perhaps the most interesting detail we are given is a name, H. Stoop. This entry is under a minute long, but it's incredibly effective. R is being stalked by a literal dinosaur, or rather something that appears to look like a dinosaur. One detail worth emphasizing is the sound that this thing makes when it's moving. I've talked about this before, but it's not organic. No heavy footsteps, no growling, just the grinding scrape of stone or concrete. It's wonderfully unsettling, and it strongly suggests that these aren't resurrected creatures at all, but something else. Something manufactured. How will R proceed after making this discovery? Find out next time, right now, because it's all one long video that's probably way too long for its own good. I'm sorry, I don't know how to do these transitions. They're all getting samey. We're moving on to the next video. The next log starts us off with R explaining his situation through messages on the screen. It's been 2 days. He hasn't slept. It's still outside his house, and it only comes at night. He shows comments on his previous video asking for proof of the creature, and he says that he will prove he is not alone. Miserably alone. He also states that his mother's camera got damaged in the previous video, and that he's getting it repaired. What this confirms to us is that the camera he's been using this whole time belonged to his mother. So the first date showing up as October 22nd, 1994 was the last date she ever used it, just 5 days after his birthday. Interesting. The video cuts to a shot of R looking out a window with an expression that's similar to my own when I finish editing a 3-hour video only to get a comment saying that I missed a hidden message written on the left nut of an abstract analog horror entity that shows on screen for a single frame as if I have a third eye dedicated to noticing every detail in a 20-part series of abstract nonsense. Sorry.
Hi. Hey, Mom. It's nice to... I just wanted to say that this is stupid.
In a weird turn, R starts speaking as if he's recording the video for his mother. If I had to guess, he is probably delirious from his lack of sleep, as well as the constant state of fear he's been in for the past 2 days. Being under that kind of pressure would cause anyone to misspeak. The video cuts to darkness, and we can hear the sound of R's footsteps as he makes his way through the woods. He finds a spot to camp out and starts speaking to the camera once again.
I know this might not be the smartest thing to do, but I can't afford to call the police again, not without proof. So yeah, it's kept me up for years, and I just I can't ignore it anymore. Life should feel blissful, but it never has. It took my mom. If I can just get it on camera, it'll change things.
This, once again, could be his lack of sleep talking, but I can't be sure. He says that this thing has been keeping him up for years, and that it took his mother from him. He expresses how his life has never felt blissful, and this leads me to believe that when he says this entity has kept him up for years, he's referring to his nightmares. Whatever happened to his mother has had a lasting effect on him that he hasn't been able to let go of. In the woods, alone, but not completely alone, R falls asleep listening to his mother's lullaby. And later that night, we hear the entity moving, triggering the security light, which gives us a view of the outline of the Triceratops head moving towards R's face. But, strangely, it doesn't attack. Instead, the video cuts to the next morning, and R wakes up unscathed for all we can tell. And then the video ends. So what happens in this log is actually quite interesting. We learn that this Triceratops, or rather this thing appearing to be a Triceratops, took R's mother away from him years ago, at least from his perspective. Looking back at the drawing of the two figures in the park, I'm convinced that it depicts his mother being dragged away, but not by a dinosaur, by a person. So she was definitely taken, but I don't think the Triceratops was the culprit. It doesn't appear to be hostile, just imposing and kinda creepy. It just gets close to R and then leaves. Almost like it's watching over him. Kind of like a mother does with her child. Could it really be? The next video picks up 5 days after the previous log, and R has finally managed to get in touch with Anna.
Did you call the police 4 days ago?
What? Yeah, I did. The video, did you see?
Why didn't you tell me? Do you know how scared I was?
What? No, why aren't you listening? The video, my nightmare, it's real.
Why didn't you call me? I'm your sister.
Because you never answer your phone. Look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're right. You're right, I'm sorry, I'm sorry I haven't been around lately, and I'm sorry I haven't been there for you, but I'm coming home tonight, okay?
Anna,
I'm
no,
coming
it's fine.
home,
During their conversation over the phone, we get more Morse code glitches. The sequence in this video spells out the message, "The monster." Anna apologizes for not being there for R and says that she is coming home that night. If we pay close attention to what she says during the conversation though, some interesting details manage to slip out. She explains that she should have never let R go through those boxes, and that the people she works for have been lying.
and I should have never let you sort through those boxes. It just made things worse, but I will fix that. I'll explain things. My work, they've been
Wait, what?
lying. I know your nightmares are bad, okay? I know.
You don't believe me.
But it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
R brushes this off, thinking Anna simply doesn't believe what he's seen. But there's something much bigger happening here. What this suggests is that Anna is being manipulated. She's sending boxes of items from their childhood and medication from her employers, believing that she's helping him, while in reality, it's causing his mental and physical state to deteriorate. So it's all but confirmed that Anna isn't just distant, she's a pawn in a game she doesn't fully understand yet. But then this begs the question, who is Anna working for? Well, we've only got one name to go off of, and I think it's a safe bet. T Chemical. Mentioned in the first video of the series, we haven't really heard much about them up until this point, but if we look at this video's description, we can see their full name listed as Tricon Chemical, or Thricon Chemical, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, with this footage being labeled as their property, the same way the first video was as well. This fact directly connects them to the events that are unfolding. They have been monitoring R through his sister for some greater purpose that we can only speculate about at this time, but one thing is certain. They're willing to manipulate R's sister and put him through hell for their own gains. They cannot be trusted. After the conversation between R and Anna, the video cuts and R explains that he has a plan. When the Triceratops returns, he says that he will follow it to figure out where it comes from. He states that his memories have started to come back, and that this thing killed his mother.
They killed my mom. I remember now. Those yellow eyes staring at me through the window. My nightmare. My monster.
Transitioning to that night, he hides himself and waits for the Triceratops to show up. We can hear it moving just out of view as R follows it through the dark. One strange detail is that while following, he stumbles upon a child's shoe. I wonder what that could mean. The sound design here is excellent and really works wonders for the overall tension of this sequence. R eventually stops as he sees something in the distance. He gets closer to it and we can see that it's the backside of the Triceratops. R's phone rings and we can hear the thing move, and I gotta say, for what appears to be a concrete constructed dinosaur, this thing moves extremely fast, managing to get completely out of view by the time R silences his phone. This prompts R to begin running. When he finds a safe spot, he answers the phone. It's Anna. And what follows is an awesome display of tension and payoff.
Anna?
Who are you?
Anna, I did it. I got my nightmare on camera. It's free.
There's something outside the house.
What?
It's yellow eyes. It's yellow eyes are just staring at me.
That's not possible.
I'm so sorry. I
Anna?
was helping you.
Anna?
Old cowboy.
Anna! Hey! Help! 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 Yeah, call 911. My sister, she's been hurt.
Over the phone, Anna says that there's something outside of R's house. Remember, she said that she would be visiting that night in their previous call. Anna says that the thing outside is looking at her with yellow eyes. The same eyes R described earlier. But this isn't possible. He just saw the Triceratops seconds ago. I know it moves fast, but could it really move that quickly? Anna apologizes to R before we hear the crash of a window, and the call cuts off. R begins to run, and we hear a growl. In a few quick images, we see the gaping maw of a different dinosaur along with a quick flash of the Triceratops. As R runs, we can hear a crumbling sound and the growling ceases. As he runs, he then spots someone in the distance wearing the same reflective vest as the workers from the first video. He tells them to call 911, but as he approaches, the person punches R, and the video ends.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Before we move forward, let's recap what we've seen so far. This series isn't the most complicated, but it can be slightly confusing if you're not paying attention. So let's review. Starting off with the first video. It's clear that this is probably the ending of our story. Judging from all the dates we are given, we can confirm that all of R's logs we see are the events leading up to that first video. Which means, as we watch, we are going to get more context about what was actually taking place on that night in the park. Let's talk about R. When we meet him, we can see that he experiences very vivid nightmares of a monster watching him. A key detail about this monster, what he calls his nightmare, is that it has yellow eyes that watch him from afar pretty much every night. Jumping forward to the video we just watched, when he follows the Triceratops out into the woods, Anna calls from the house saying that she sees those same yellow eyes watching her from outside, right before she is presumably killed. In that same video, we also see two different dinosaurs, and even though we see very little, there is a clear difference. The Triceratops only seems to be interested in watching R. We see it come close to him in log 7, but it doesn't attack. R believes the Triceratops to be his nightmare when in reality that's not the case at all. It is in fact the more carnivorous-looking dinosaur that chased him through the woods and probably killed his sister, which also seems to be the one depicted in one of his drawings. Okay, cool, so then what's the deal with the Triceratops? And why is it more friendly? Well, let's take a second to analyze the dinos themselves. I keep going back to that sound they make because it's a large indicator that these are not organic creatures. If we look at the pictures in log 3, we can see R and Anna at a park where there seems to be statues of dinosaurs. This is presumably the park that was mentioned in the first video as well. I think that this park is the ground zero for all the events we are seeing unfold. Somehow, these statues are alive, and I think the Triceratops could be his mother watching him after she was taken. She routinely leaves the park to check on her son, ready to step in and protect him when the time comes. Which is exactly what we see in our latest video. As R is being chased by the carnivore, the Triceratops steps in and collides with it, stopping it from reaching her son. We can hear this through the sound design. As R runs, we can hear the dinosaurs crumbling from the impact. Although there is a larger element to this story that we need to talk about, that being T Chemical. We see their name at the beginning of the series and in the description of the latest one. Both are their property. I think they are the ones behind the creation of the dinosaurs. I'll also go out on a limb here and say that the job Anna consistently refers to is a position at T Chemical, where her main job was to monitor her brother and slowly administer medication, messing with his head for an unknown goal. Obviously, a lot of this is speculation, and we won't know until we see more. I'll end this section off with this. The biggest questions in my mind are these. How are these dinosaurs made? And what is T Chemical's ultimate goal? Enough talk. Let's finish out this series and put the final story together. Like the very first video, we are taken back in time to a DVD player. After a little nostalgia hit through the anti-DVD piracy ad, we get an anti-piracy warning on screen. Just like the first video, we learn that this DVD is the property of T Chemical and has been licensed to the buyer, which the video describes as a term pertaining to the benefactors of something called the SCT project. A user interface loads onto the screen with 5 videos. The first is dated to take place on the 8th of September at 3 p.m., so a little over an hour from where the previous video left off. The following video is more of an audio recording between our main character R and a mysterious woman named Shelly. When starting the conversation, Shelly brings up our sister as a way to get him to talk.
Who are you?
My name is Shelly. I'm here to help you. You don't believe me? I see. Well, I was going to talk to you about your sister, but since you are not in the mood, I guess I'll try.
Is she okay?
Yes, she's fine. Now, the police say they found you passed out in the bushes outside of your house. Is that true?
No, I didn't pass out. I was knocked out.
Okay. Can you remember by who? Okay. It's okay if you can't remember. We can come back to that. Now, you said you were running, correct? Okay. Can you remember why you were running? Were you running from something?
What didn't the police tell you?
They said you sounded delusional when you woke up. They said you saw dinosaurs?
Monsters.
He asks if his sister is okay, and Shelly replies by saying his sister is fine, but we as the audience know better. Through the dialogue, we learn that after R was knocked out, he woke up and was taken by the police and brought in for questioning. Shelley says that the police reported him to be delusional, waking up and spouting that he had been running from monsters. He tells Shelley that he got it all on video, but she says a camera was never found at the scene. This leads me to believe that the people who took R in were not the police at all, but rather employees of T Chemical, who have entrapped him at some kind of secret facility. Like I said before, we don't know too much about T Chemical, but it's safe to assume that they are responsible for the creation of the dinosaurs we saw in the previous videos, and they have brought R into their facility to either keep him quiet or for some other purpose. This is why Shelley actively lies to him and seems generally apathetic towards his situation. She ends the interview by asking R about his sleep deprivation. He tells her that he suffers from extreme nightmares, and she ends the interview, letting him know that they are going to be holding him for a few more days while the police handle the investigation.
Can I ask you one last question?
Sure.
When you were found, you showed symptoms of severe sleep deprivation. Can I ask why that was?
I have nightmares, so I struggle to sleep sometimes.
I see. Well, thank you for your time. I think that's enough for now. I apologize in advance, but you will have to stay here for the next few days as the police continue their investigation.
Wait, what about my sister?
She sustained rather serious injuries and is under medical surveillance, just to be safe. I'm sorry. But you will be able to visit her soon.
Okay, thanks.
If you need anything, I'm here to help. Now get some rest. Sounds like you need it.
The second video is dated to take place in 1993 on June 31st. Not only is this a jump back in time, but the video also has a title, H. Stoop. This is the same name we've seen before on a newspaper article shown at the end of log 6. In the video, we hear an audio recording from Mr. Stoop himself. We also learn that his full name is Homer Stoop. In the recording, he seems to be making a deal with T Chemical about a collaboration. He states that the company has no concern for the moral repercussions of his research, but that is besides the point. He says that they are just as curious as he is and hopes that his wishes can be met with gratification.
The show. That's why I am here. Your company isn't afraid of the moral repercussions my research would entail. But that's besides the point. I can tell you are just as curious or you wouldn't have asked for me. You seek knowledge and wisdom as I once did, and I hope that my wishes can be met with gratification as you so did.
So this guy seems to be some kind of scientist who worked in collaboration with T Chemical all the way back in 1993, when R was just 6 years old. The next video is dated to take place a couple days after R's first interview with Shelley. In this one, they go over his drawings. When R asks about the camera, Shelley slips, forgetting ever talking about it. This signals to R that something is up, and Shelley isn't trying to help him.
Listen, if you don't believe me, then what attacked my sister?
We are still trying to figure that out.
Have you found my camera yet?
What camera?
What, the one I told you about?
We still haven't found it.
Can I see my sister yet?
Almost. I promise. Another 2 or 3 days and she should be good to see visitors. She is struggling to cope with what happened.
But are we done for today?
Just about. One last question, if I may. Were you seeing these nightmares?
Monsters.
Sorry. Were you seeing these monsters while you were awake?
Yes. Yes, that's what I was trying to get on camera.
I see. Well, thank you for your time. I'll keep you posted on any updates regarding your sister, okay?
Thank you.
You're a good brother. You know that?
What did you say?
You care about your sister. That's good. I'll talk to you soon.
Are
Adult trials won't work. Trust me, I have tried. All you get is an empty shell living off a quarter's at best. We have to think younger. Conversion as they grow, that way it can stabilize in adulthood. I've written a proposal for her. I need you to convince her to say yes.
The video abruptly cuts to more audio from Stoop. He's explaining how for whatever trial T Chemical is running, adult trials do not work. In his own words, he explains, all you get is an empty shell living off a core desire at best. We have to think younger. Conversion as they grow. That way it can stabilize into adulthood. I've written a proposal for her. I need you to convince her to say yes. It should be noted that if we look at the date of this audio, it is March 14th, 1994. About 6 months before R's 7th birthday that we see in the photos of Log 3. The next interview takes place 4 days after the last, and understandably R wants to see his sister. Shelley, however, always seems to have an excuse, and diverts the conversation, asking about R's parents. He says that it was always just him, his sister, and his mother. When asked about what happened to his mother, R doesn't respond. But judging from Shelley's reaction, it is confirmed here that R's mother has passed. Shelley says that she has some good news, however, saying that they have found his mother's camera, and tells R to get some rest, as tomorrow will be a big day. Before we can hear what happens, we get another audio recording of Stoop, in a much more disheveled state.
Oh no! She pulled the plug. Not after how far I've come. And for what? Motherly instincts. Please. If our children knew what she's done, she'd be a monster. I have a plan. But I need you to promise me something first.
It's quick, but we learn a lot. Whoever is in charge at T Chemical decides that with the revelation that they will have to use kids in their experiments, she's going to pull the plug on the entire operation. Stoop says that this is a result of motherly instincts. Interesting. He also says that he has a plan, but whoever he is speaking to needs to make him a promise first. The date on this exchange is listed as October 10th, 1994. 7 days before R's birthday. The final video log we view between R and Shelley is dated to take place 1 day after the previous. Shelley asks how R is feeling, and he replies dryly by saying he is fine. Shelley is confused by this, as this is the day he is finally going to see his sister, but R smartly points out a detail from the previous interview.
Just fine? You finally get to see your sister.
Yeah. I know, it's just, I was thinking, yesterday, you said the police found my mom's camera, right?
Yes.
I see.
Is there something wrong?
No, nothing. I just, I really want to go home, you know.
The video doesn't lay it all out for you, but if you are paying attention, you will catch the detail that there is no way for Shelley to know that the camera found at the scene originally belonged to R's mother. R never told her this, meaning that Shelley knows more than she's letting on. Confirming this fact, R says he's ready to go home. What follows is one of the best moments of the entire series.
Can I see Anna now?
What do these images mean to you?
How did you get those?
They were on the camera.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were. Old family photos of you and your sister next to dinosaur statues.
Those aren't dinosaurs.
Yes, they are.
No, they're monsters.
No, they aren't. When we
Where's
found
Anna?
you were outside your house, severely sleep-deprived, hallucinating dinosaur statues
Where's Anna?
from your childhood while your sister
Where's
was
Anna?
trying to help you.
Where's Anna?
She's dead!
No. No.
Your lack of sleep, combined with the nightmares, caused you to dissociate.
I didn't.
You killed her.
I wouldn't.
The only monster was you.
trials. No, Shelley. There's a step before that that's more important. To be able to convert the soul, you need to break their psyche. And in order to do that, well, there is nothing more painful to the human mind than a great and sudden change.
It is confirmed that Anna was killed that night. And from what Shelley says, R killed her. But that obviously doesn't match what we saw in the final log. Shelley is manipulating R for a reason that is unknown. One detail, though, is that once this exchange ends, the patient status on the video changes from "to be determined" to "success." It seems that with this revelation, something in the experiment has shifted. Before the video ends, Stoop delivers one final audio recording, dated to take place on August 8th, 2007. In this one, he directs Shelley by name, and says that there is a step before DNA trials that is more important to the process of their experiments than any other. As his face changes into a dinosaur head, he explains that in order to convert the soul, you need to break the subject's psyche. And in order to do that, there is nothing more painful to the human mind than a great and sudden change. This video offers a ton of information to go through, as we finally start getting some answers on what exactly is happening in the grand scheme of this story. Let's start with Stoop and T Chemical. It seems that both run scientific experiments revolving around the converting of the human soul into something entirely different. T Chemical eventually forms a partnership with Stoop, and they continue their research through the 90s, learning a lot in the process. What these experiments entail is obvious to us at this point. They seem to be attempting to convert people into dinosaurs, or rather dinosaur-adjacent creatures. They experiment with adult test subjects only to find that when they fully convert, they are nothing but an empty shell with one core desire. Stoop makes the conclusion that they need to experiment with children, as this gives the conversion process a time period to grow alongside the subject. The head of T Chemical denies this, however, due to what Stoop labels as motherly instincts. And with this information, I think it's possible that the head of T Chemical is actually R's mother. And the reason she doesn't approve of these trials is because she has 2 kids of her own and understands how damaging these experiments would be. However, Stoop has no intention of stopping, and with the help of Shelley, he comes up with a plan. Something most certainly happened to R on his 7th birthday. We can't be sure of what, but I believe this to be the event that would start his downward spiral. Due to the trauma, R represses these memories, and Anna is recruited or possibly forced to monitor R's conversion. However, in a turn of events that were likely planned by T Chemical, Anna is killed by one of their creations, and Shelley manipulates R into thinking that he was responsible, to break his mind, starting the full conversion process.
To be able to convert the soul, you need to break their psyche.
That's why his patient status changes from "to be determined" to "success." There is also the return of Morse code in this video, which when decoded creates the phrase, "What am I?" Knowing that all of the subtitles and Morse code glitches come from R, this could be him in the future after the conversion process, wondering what he is anymore. Now, I know that's kind of a lot of information to move through quickly, but don't worry, I'll lay everything out on a timeline when we reach the end of this video. We only have 3 more episodes to watch, however, so let's power through and reach our conclusion. At the top of the next video, we are told the following events we are about to see took place between September 17th and November 20th. It should be noted that November 20th is the day before the events we see in the first video. We hear an audio recording from Shelley, where she basically lays out her role in the SCT program. Nice Walton Files reference, by the way.
Patient 10 was finally brought in today. He weighed in at 71.4 kilograms with a height of 173 centimeters. He seemed to be both mentally and physically despondent, allowing for a rather easy transfer for once. As for my role, my name is Shelley Walton, lead scientist and researcher alongside Dr. Stoop in the SCT program. I have been tasked with 1. Documenting and monitoring patient 10 as they undergo the program, while 2. I administer the paleo DNA provided by Dr. Stoop.
She has been tasked with monitoring patient 10 and administering paleo DNA provided by Dr. Stoop. This is where her third task comes in which she is supposed to sample any findings from patient 10. We can immediately see that patient 10 is in fact our good friend R. The poor guy is being kept in a room with nothing but a mattress and is being monitored by a woman who convinced him that he murdered his own sister. And this is why I brought up R's character development a decent amount in the previous videos. Seeing him in this state is, well, it's rough, man. It really shows the lack of humanity of Tricon, and by default, Shelley and Dr. Stoop. Shelley says that they have yet to see any of their patients make it past what is called pyretization sickness. For those who don't know what pyretization is, it's basically a fossilization process where the soft tissues of a dead organism are replaced by pyrite, iron sulfide, also known as fool's gold. So the term pyretization sickness could refer to the process of literally being fossilized while alive. I mean, seriously, give this guy a break already, he just wanted to make YouTube videos. Cutting to a week later, and changes are underway with R's biology. Through Shelley's dialogue, we learn an interesting detail that was hinted at but not confirmed until now. It seems that Dr. Stoop didn't just provide the paleo DNA, but rather it came directly from his cells. This is interesting because in the final Stoop recording, we can see on the visual aid his face changes from that of Walter White to a dinosaur head. So it's possible that he was also undergoing a change at this time, but we can't confirm that. Maybe he just has special DNA that we don't fully understand. Shelley says that these DNA samples combined with R's prior medication allowed for a higher rate of stabilization post-procedure. This prior medication being the pills his sister was giving him. At this stage, R has become transgenic, meaning that his genome has successfully been altered with the introduction of Dr. Stoop's DNA. Before this recording ends, Shelley says that she has halted the termination of Exhibit 6, which, judging from the visuals on screen, refers to the Triceratops. She says the reason for this is due to its link with R, which she thinks could be useful later on. Now this is interesting because it confirms that the Triceratops is in fact related to R in some way, although it hasn't been explicitly laid out for us. 2 more weeks go by and R is continuing to change. He gains muscle mass, and his cells begin to experience the painful process of pyretization, which we discussed earlier. Shelley says that the previous patients responded very violently to the process, which, yeah, of course they did, and we see some documents detailing the carnivorous nature of a dinosaur. Shelley says that she will inform Dr. Stoop of the situation, and we see a pair of glowing eyes moving in the dark. In the next audio recording, Shelley says that R has developed tapetum lucidum in his eyes. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. It's basically a reflective layer in the back of the eye that you see on many nocturnal animals that improves vision in low light by reflecting light back through the retina. I love the pretty visceral image of R's eye being forced open in the visual aid as a needle approaches, while Shelley just casually states that samples will be taken as if she's one of those aliens from Fire in the Sky. It's just another day on the job for her, and the lack of humanity here is incredible, and it makes what comes later so much more satisfying. Other than his eyes, R's body has continued to change, with patches of pyrite popping up around his arms, chest, back, and face. In the next entry, Shelley says that R is now weighing in at 96.1 kilograms, or 211 pounds, and stands at a height of 186 centimeters, or around 6 feet tall. Upon Dr. Stoop's request, Shelley clarifies the process R is going through. She says that once the patient fully petrifies, they will continue to grow as a living organism, eventually growing into the genotype taken from Dr. Stoop's DNA. Shelley says that she has not been able to identify what paleo DNA they are using for R's transformation, as each time they extract some from Dr. Stoop, it is different. She says his DNA is ancient, possibly dating back to the Cretaceous period. For whatever reason, this guy is special, and he's possibly been around for centuries, so it begs the question of what is he exactly? Shelley goes to question R as a request from Dr. Stoop, and we get the following exchange. I apologize in advance for the weird audio mixing this next section has. You kind of heard it before. Shelley is going to be in your left ear, R is going to be in your right ear. That sounds really weird, but it'll make sense when I play it for you. Here's one of the best sections of this series.
How are you feeling? I've been asked to speak with you, if you don't mind. It's about your mother. You know, we had high hopes for you. It took a lot of effort to get you here as you are now. Do you realize that? Your sister, your mother, Homer, we all wanted you to succeed. But you're just another failure. Do you know what this is? It's a type of stone. The same stone growing under your skin. Do you know what this piece is from? No? Well, a certain Triceratops was destroyed that night. Stopped one of our other exhibits from attacking you. Weird, right? You could have saved her, but you had to go out that night. You left her alone to die. And for what? Dinosaurs? Do you know why children love dinosaurs? They're symbolic parents, extraordinary creatures that personify the uncontrollable force of looming authority. Fascinating and frightening, like parents. And you loved them as you loved your sister and your mother. Only a real monster could be capable of killing such a creature. So, will you die to sickness? Or will you show me what you truly are?
In this exchange, we learn some things. So the Triceratops is in fact R's mother. She went through the same process R is going through right now. When R was attacked on the night of his sister's death, his mother, the Triceratops, defended him. This is why it didn't kill him when he fell asleep that night in the woods. It wasn't hunting him. It was just watching over him. It also seems to be confirmed that R's sister, his mother, Dr. Stoop, and Shelley were all in on the plan to use R for this experiment. After they transformed his mother, they likely made his sister give R the pills. This is why in the phone calls at the start of the series, she seems stressed and a bit off. Shelley says that they are going to lock off R as he succumbs to the piratisation sickness. She says that Dr. Stoop was wrong in his theory about the human soul, and all they did was create a broken boy who believes he is a monster. But that's not what happens at all. The next segment of the video is truly incredible. I'm gonna go ahead and play it for you now, but small jump scare warning here. R breaks out of his confinement. Shelley flees, both terrified and ecstatic that the transformation actually worked. She takes shelter in a closet, but it does nothing to stop R from killing her. I absolutely love the twist of our protagonist being the monster. Usually in analog horror, we want the person hiding to make it out, mainly so we can avoid the jump scare. But here, nah, kill that girl. She sucks. And the jump scare, while still pretty scary, is cathartic in a weird way. And with it, R has broken out. He is finally free, but he's no longer human, at least not fully. So, what now? The next video starts us off with the cameraman running frantically. Through some quick shots, we can make out that this is R running barefoot through the woods after escaping the facility. A car passes by, and as R continues to run, we see some familiar landmarks from the first video. It seems the facility he was being kept in is the SCT site from the first video, and it is located inside the park he went to on his 7th birthday. He continues on through the woods before he hears a sound, stopping him in his tracks. In a pretty nice jump scare, he comes across a statue of a crocodile, and something else. Looking back at his birthday photos, we can see that he's in the spot where they were taken, confirming this to be the park his mother brought him to. He continues, and just to highlight again how well crafted this series is, the quiet tension in this video is absolutely phenomenal. The low quality visuals and sound design really makes an otherwise slow sequence feel tense as you wait for something to happen. One awesome moment is when you hear this sound behind R. The first time he doesn't really react, but when we hear it a second time, there is a dinosaur statue standing just behind him in a running position. It conveys movement without showing any movement at all. It's just really smartly done in my opinion. And it shows us that he's not alone here. He's being followed through this nightmare. Upon seeing the statue behind him, he quickens his pace only to turn around and see it right behind him. He begins to run and comes across one of the employees with the reflective vests. He pushes them out of the way, and as he runs, we can hear the employee's screams mixed with that of the dinosaur that was chasing R. He stops when he comes across this. The larger dinosaur, or rather the statue of one, chases him to the edge of a fall, and with no choice, he jumps. When the day breaks, the dog we saw in log 4 stumbles upon R's broken body. When he wakes up, he takes the camera and shows us the drop. Seeing how high it is, I think it's safe to say that his body, due to the mutation, has become much more resilient, because I don't think any normal person would be able to walk away from a fall like that. The dog leads him on a nice walk back home. When we get to the house, we can see it is still disheveled from the attack. His sister's blood is still visible on the floor and the walls. In a very human moment, R breaks down, letting everything he has gone through hit him at once. It brings him to his knees, where he finds his sister's hat. With his newly mutated hand, he reaches out and picks it up to reveal a DVD underneath, with the letter R written on it, with others as well, scratched out, an E and an X. Rex. In the final video of the series, we hear an audio recording from Anna, where she basically lays out all of the details we have speculated on up until this point. She explains how their mother indeed worked for Tricon Chemical, and the park they visited on Rex's 7th birthday contained all of Tricon's subjects, now fully turned into dinosaurs. And it turns out that his sister was actually not in on the experiments, as when her brother's illness started to become more apparent, she went to Dr. Stoop for help. He in turn gave her the medication to help prepare Rex for his transformation. She was manipulated.
You were just a boy. But Rex, those weren't dinosaurs. They were people. Your nightmares, they are real. And that day, he took her. But Mum, she never gave up on you. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. But then you started getting sick. So I tried to get help. From the only place I knew. If I had known what he was. It was never about dinosaurs. To him, you were always meant to be his afterthought. You are my brother, and I will always be there for you.
The video ends with Rex putting on a purple shirt and building 2 graves, one for his sister and one for his mother. On his sister's grave, he places her hat. On his mother's, the Triceratops toy he found in one of the boxes that Anna sent him. Before the video closes, however, we do get some newspaper clippings that we've actually seen previously, and we find out that these are from Dr. Stoop's files. The final image of the series is a T-Rex spliced with the upper half of Prometheus. And that is where Hollow Birds wraps up its incredible story. Now, it's time we take a step back and lay everything out clearly. Hollow Birds isn't the most complicated analog horror series out there, but it does demand your attention. A lot of its story is told through subtlety and precise choices that will help us to see the whole picture. So, let's take a step into the past, to a time before man, the 90s and early 2000s, and begin to build our timeline. Here's my interpretation of the Hollow Bird story. Let's begin. On October 17th, 1987, a boy was born into the world. His mother, the head of an elusive research company known simply as Tricon Chemical, named him Rex, a name closely tied to their own experiments. Rex would grow up unaware that he had been born into the shadow of his mother's work, into the orbit of an institution that would quietly shape his nightmares, fracture his identity, and guide his transformation from a frightened child into something no longer fully human. In recordings dated back as far as 1993, we hear that in order to further their research, Tricon gets in contact with a man named Homer Stoop, a mysterious figure who provides vital knowledge as well as materials to Tricon. At first, Tricon begins experimenting on adults. However, the trials quickly fail. They watch as 5 different adult trials all end the same. The subjects succumb to pyretization sickness, eventually, over time, growing into nothing but hollow exhibits of whatever DNA was provided to them, barely able to move, driven by a single core desire. According to Stoop, adult subjects can't survive the process because the DNA they provide is being introduced into the subject's biology too late into their lives, meaning it does not have ample time to grow alongside the subject. His solution is chillingly pragmatic. Start the process younger, while the subject is still developing, so the conversion can stabilize over time. This is where things begin to escalate. In March of 1994, Stoop proposes running trials on children, but Rex's mother, having 2 kids of her own, understands the ethical stakes of running these sorts of experiments on kids, especially since she witnessed the less than stellar results of their previous trials, and she swiftly rejects the proposal, saying that she's going to pull the plug on the entire operation. They've hurt too many people at this point. It's time to give it up. The cost isn't worth it to her. But Stoop doesn't stop. In a recording taken from October 1994, just 1 week before Rex's 7th birthday, Stoop goes behind her back and meets with Tricon employee Shelley Walton and crafts a plan to continue the research. He lays it all out for Shelley. They will use Rex for their trial, and they will use his sister to administer medication and emotional stimuli to support his conversion. And for this plan to work, Stoop needs more than approval. He needs a promise. A promise that Shelley will follow through, no matter the cost. She will not allow guilt or doubt to interfere when the time comes to push Rex over the edge. And whether driven by belief in the work, ambition, or something more personal, Shelley agrees. And Dr. Stoop's plan begins to take shape on Rex's 7th birthday, a day where everything changes. As stated by Shelley, Rex loved dinosaurs. I mean, what kid doesn't, am I right? When his mother asks him what he wants to do for his 7th bestest birthday, he says that he wants to visit the park where his mother works, the park where all the dinosaurs are. His mother reluctantly promises that she will take him there for his birthday. After all the previous experiments are all but frozen in pyrite, barely able to move after they've been converted. What could possibly go wrong? On October 17th, 1994, R celebrates his 7th birthday in a park filled with dinosaur statues, the results of Tricon's previous experiments. In the photos of that day, we see R and Anna smiling in front of the exhibits, unaware that this will be the last normal day of their lives. Just as Rex disassociated the event, we are unable to fully know what took place on that day, but the results remain the same. Rex leaves the park traumatized, and his mother disappears. Whatever he saw would haunt his dreams for years to come. It's possible one of the exhibits began to move, terrifying the young boy. And he also most likely witnessed his mother being taken away by a mysterious figure, or at least one that he didn't recognize. But judging from Anna's final message, it almost sounds like Stoop was the one to take Rex's mother. But perhaps the most disturbing thing about this situation is that Rex's mother doesn't simply disappear. She's transported to the SCT site where she goes through the conversion process she had overseen for years, becoming Exhibit 6, the Triceratops, fossilized in living form. The core desire she retains? Her maternal instinct. And with this, she doesn't hunt, she watches. At this point in the timeline, it is near radio silence, but there are a few details that help us fill in the gaps. R and Anna grew up without their mother in an establishment known as Nurturing Souls, a seemingly ordinary children's home. However, if you are watching closely, you will see that it's not. If we look back at the Patient 10 video, we can see that in the opening, Tricon has an associate company, which just so happens to be, you guessed it, Nurturing Souls. We don't know exactly what took place in this establishment, but Rex openly states that as his memories come back, his life has never been blissful. He has been in a constant state of fear ever since his birthday, And when you connect Nurturing Souls to Tricon, the implications become hard to ignore. Nurturing Souls wasn't just a place for Rex and Anna to grow up, it was another layer of the experiment, a controlled environment where trauma, medication, and isolation could quietly reshape Rex's psyche. Due to that day in the park and whatever trauma was layered on at Nurturing Souls, Rex develops severe nightmares, always with the same theme: something watching from the dark. Yellow eyes reflecting back at him. Anna becomes concerned for Rex's health and ends up reaching out to Tricon, where she gets in touch with Stoop. He gives her Rex's medication, manipulating her into thinking that she is helping her brother. But as we know by this point, those pills aren't treatment. They're preparation. When the video logs start in August 2007, we're watching the final phase of a plan that began over a decade earlier. Rex records videos for Anna late at night, unable to sleep. He sketches monsters from his nightmares. Eyes in the dark, dinosaur-like shapes watching from behind walls. The medication isn't working. It's only making things worse. When a box arrives from Nurturing Souls, everything accelerates. Old drawings, toys, a DVD containing material he doesn't remember, including a video of his mother humming him a lullaby. This is what starts to bring his memories back, pushing him to the brink. On top of all this, R is unable to get in touch with Anna. I interpret this as either her doing her own investigations into Tricon to figure out what's really going on, or Tricon keeping her silent to push Rex more into isolation as they start their next stage of the plan. The night of what might be the last good day Rex ever has, the impossible happens. Something begins to move outside his house. Not flesh. Stone. A triceratops appears in the distance. Massive. Scraping the ground as it walks. Rex believes that this is his nightmare, made real, but he's wrong. When he gathers the courage to camp out in the woods to get proof, the creature approaches him while he sleeps. But it doesn't attack. It watches over him and protects him. Because this is not his nightmare. It's his mother. Anna finally gets in contact with Rex, saying that she will visit him that night. This is the same night Rex follows the Triceratops into the woods, still believing it to be hostile. When he gets it on video, Anna calls from the house, terrified. She sees yellow eyes outside the window, watching her. A second dinosaur, more aggressive, more predatory, attacks the house. Anna apologizes to R before the call cuts out, and she is presumably killed moments later. It's at this moment Rex hears a noise in the woods, something hunting him. It reveals itself to be a carnivorous dinosaur, out for blood. As R runs through the woods, chased by this exhibit, the Triceratops collides with it, defending her son. Rex continues to run before finding a Tricon employee wearing a reflective vest who swiftly slugs him in the face, knocking him out and detaining him for the final stage of his conversion. Now, I want to pause here because I know some of you might be asking questions like, how are the exhibits getting to Rex's house in the first place, and how do you know Anna is dead? And while I don't have a concrete answer to these questions, I have some thoughts. First, I think that Tricon purposefully let their exhibits loose near Rex's home just to mess with him even more. The whole goal of his trial, we learn later on, is to break his psyche. What better way to do that than to put him under immense stress by making him think his nightmares are coming to life, right in his own backyard. And I will say, unfortunately, I do think Anna is definitely dead. And my main reason being is that she served her purpose to Tricon, and after that, she would be nothing more than a loose end. There would be no reason to keep her around. I think that Tricon's thought process was that even if she survived that night, they had enough people in the area to detain her, but I'm willing to bet they expected her to die here. Either way, it's an unfortunate series of events. In the end, Tricon got exactly what they wanted. There's also the weird detail of R finding a child's shoe in the middle of the woods while he's tracking down the Triceratops. And honestly, this one has me a little bit stumped. I'm not sure what the video is trying to convey with it, since R doesn't really seem to recognize it, and we don't really see this shoe pop up in any of the photos of him as a child, so I'm not even sure if it belongs to him or some random kid. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Rex wakes up detained, thinking the police have him in custody. He's interviewed by Shelley, who lies to him only to break him later. As their conversations go on, Rex starts to realize that Shelley isn't what she seems, and she breaks the news to him that his sister is dead. She says that he was the one to kill her, and this breaks Rex completely. Not only does he not have anyone left in his life, but he believes that he is the one who killed the last person he ever cared about. Over the next several days, Tricon officially designates him Patient 10 under the SCT program. We can also debate about what SCT actually means. My thought is maybe something like soul conversion trial, but that's just a guess. He's injected with paleo DNA taken directly from Stoop himself. His body begins to change, his cells fossilize through pyretization. Throughout the painful process, he hangs on to whatever humanity he can, even as he himself is treated without it. In the final interview, Shelley brings a shard of the Triceratops into Rex's cell, a literal piece of his mother. She tells him that they all had high hopes for him, but that he's just another failure. Nothing more than a broken boy. As Rex hugs the shard of his mother that night, he decides that enough is enough. They want a monster, they're about to get one. He breaks free from his cell, taking time to rip Shelley apart on his way out. He escapes as the first success story of Tricon's many experiments. He runs through the park, the same park from his childhood, chased by Tricon employees as well as their other exhibits. Cornered, he jumps from a cliff and miraculously survives the fall, only because he is no longer fully human. While asleep, the neighborhood dog he fed finds him in the woods. Not seeing a monster, she sweetly wakes him up and leads him home. When he returns, he finds the place left in a wreck from the attack. Anna's hat is laid out on the floor with her blood. Underneath, a disc with his name written on the front. Anna's final message reveals the truth to Rex. Everything that was kept from him. As the sun sets, he lovingly crafts two memorials. One for his sister, the last person he ever cared about, and his mother, his protector. If we want to get meta, this could also be where he edits the subtitles of all the logs he uploaded to YouTube, professing through Morse code that he was destined to be what he is now. But that doesn't make him a monster. He walks into the woods dressed in a purple shirt, heading back to the park, accepting what he has become. His goal is unknown, but if I had to guess, it is probably either to contain himself within the park, or to take down Tricon himself. In New Teeth, Tricon employees search the park for Rex, keeping their eyes out for his purple shirt. In that video, one of the employees finds Rex laying on the ground before he disappears. The employee is then chased by a dinosaur and is killed just before they make it to their Jeep. While it's not made clear, I think that the dinosaur we see killing the two employees in this video is in fact Rex. The only thing that makes me doubt it is the fact that we still see him in a slightly human form in this video right before the employees are killed, meaning his transformation would had to have happened extremely fast. With the video title specifically being New Teeth, however, I think it's safe to say that that's what's being conveyed here. And thematically, it's brilliant. Taking something that scared us in the first video and turning it into something we can actually root for is kind of a genius twist. And that is pretty much where the story ends for now. But there are some mysteries left for us to interpret, mainly that of Homer's stoop. We never learn where he comes from. We don't know how old he is, and we're never told exactly what he is either. But it's definitely not human, at least not fully. What we do know is that his DNA is ancient, dating back millions of years. But the most interesting thing about his DNA is that it's inconsistent. Each extraction Tricon takes from him is different, as if his body doesn't belong to a single species or even a single era. A human-looking figure whose cells contain shifting paleo DNA that speaks like a scientist but behaves like something much older, something that views human suffering as a necessary variable rather than a moral boundary. And speaking of his speech, it sounds pretty over the top at first, almost comically unbearable, but this might actually hold some thematic weight. We can theorize that he isn't fully human, he's just trying to appear like one, which is why his voice sounds so off. He could be trying to mimic human speech. The bottom line, though, is that Stoop isn't just running experiments. He is the experiment. And that's where the Prometheus imagery at the very end of the series becomes crucial. In Greek mythology, Prometheus was a titan who stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity in an act of compassion that also condemns humanity to suffering. The fire represents knowledge, power, and creation, something that humans were never meant to wield. In Hollowbirds, Stoop plays that role almost perfectly. He offers Tricon forbidden fire in the form of his DNA, giving them the ability to rewrite biology, identity, and even the soul itself. And just like Prometheus, the cost of that gift isn't paid by the giver alone, it's paid by everyone it touches. Rex is not Prometheus. He's what comes after Prometheus. He is the consequence of knowledge passed downward without consent. A child born into the orbit of an institution that decided progress was worth the price of stealing a life. And that's where the story's central theme becomes clear. Hollowbirds isn't really about dinosaurs or DNA experiments. It's about trauma. Rex's transformation doesn't begin with his trial. It begins with fear, with repression, disassociation, with a child witnessing something he can't fully process and being forced to carry it alone. The tragedy isn't that Rex becomes a monster, it's that he was taught to believe he already was one. Tricon and Stoop don't just convert bodies, they manufacture self-hatred and weaponize grief to see results. By the end of the series, Rex walks back to the park, not as a victim, and not as a monster, but as something in between. He accepts what he has become, but that acceptance isn't triumph, it's survival. Whether Rex intends to contain himself within the park, protect others from what Tricon has created, or bring down the institution entirely, we don't know, and maybe we never will. That said, the story does definitely leave the door open. In the Hollowbirds Q&A, Alex mentions that a second season is possible, and if you want some extra content, I highly recommend checking that video out. It's not just a Q&A, he also walks through behind-the-scenes material and discusses the creative process behind the series. Seeing the amount of care and effort that went into it is honestly inspiring in its own right. And that's probably the highest compliment I can give to Hollowbirds. It's one of the most inspiring analog horror projects I've ever seen. After watching it, I genuinely wanted to grab a camera and go straight out into the woods at night to film something, anything. Then I remembered I don't quite have the skills for that yet, and the woods are very, very scary at night. But jokes aside, this series stuck with me. It inspired me and pulled me in emotionally. It reminded me why I love this genre in the first place. I really enjoyed it all the way through, and I hope this video did it just a little bit of justice. Hollowbirds isn't a story about experiments gone wrong or monsters hiding in the woods. It's a story about what happens when trauma is ignored, when grief is weaponized, and when progress is pursued without responsibility. It asks what we become when our pain is left to fester inside, changing us forever. Rex was never born a monster. He was shaped into one, piece by piece, by an institution that mistook suffering for data and called the result a success. And in the end, that's what makes Hollowbirds linger long after it's over. Not the dinosaurs, not the blood, but the quiet, unsettling realization that the most terrifying transformations don't begin in labs or parks. They begin when someone decides that breaking a person is acceptable, as long as something new can be built from the pieces. A terrifyingly real portrayal of how humanity is willing to disregard one another in the name of progress. Hello, hello. If you've made it to this point in the video, then that means you've made it to the unscripted outro where I say, Happy New Year, guys. Welcome to 2026, officially, I guess. Oh yeah, and I actually have some members to thank now, so I'm gonna go ahead and do those out loud. That also goes without saying, if you'd like to support me more directly so that I can keep doing this, consider becoming a member, if you would like to, or pick up some T-Metal merch, link in the description below. It's good stuff. I tested it out myself. I think you'll like it. Okay, but my members. The first thank you I want to give is to Vlad Namtasev. I think I'm saying that completely wrong, actually, but I know who you are. Thanks for being a member. Next thank you I want to give is to Josh Bowden 485. Thank you for becoming a member. And then I also want to give an honorable mention to Mama Bird 003 because she was the very first. Yeah, you know who you are. Love ya. My main goal for this year is to try to get a better upload schedule, that's for sure. Sorry this one took so long to get out. I was going through some rough mental health stuff that was, well, not very good, but I feel better now, and I think the next few videos I make might be a little shorter than the more longer form stuff I usually do, just because these videos take a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I'm hoping the quality didn't waver too badly on this one. It seemed a little bit more messy to me. I was trying some new stuff, and like I said, you know, mental health is just absolutely fun to deal with. But Happy New Year, guys. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. I will see you in the next video. God bless. Thank you for watching. All of the thank yous and all of the good things that I could possibly say, you get the points. Anyways, love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.